Many experts and fans think that Lewis Hamilton's reign has come to an end. With the Brit struggling to secure points last season and having a rough start to the 2023 season, placed in fourth place after 3 races, it's clear that Mercedes and Hamilton are struggling. But have they got what it takes to turn this around? The ultimate question everyone is asking is whether or not Lewis Hamilton's championship era has come to an end. Let's find out. And as always, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more Formula One content. Lewis Hamilton is the most successful driver in the history of Formula One, with a record-breaking 7 World Championship titles and 103 Grand Prix wins under his belt. Hamilton's debut and subsequent success were significant moments not only for him, but for the sport of Formula One as a whole. He shattered stereotypes and proved that drivers of all backgrounds and ethnicities can compete at the highest level of motorsport. Since then, Hamilton has become an inspiration and role model for many aspiring drivers, particularly those from underrepresented communities. Hamilton had all the motivation he needed over the winter when he was controversially pipped to the World Championship in the 2021 season on the final lap of the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, in the most stunning fashion after events played hugely against him as a result of the late safety car procedures at the Yas Marina circuit. Hamilton has been heavily involved in every Formula One title battle since 2014. In 2021, Hamilton was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II for his services to motorsport, making him Sir Lewis Hamilton. As a result, Hamilton remains one of the greatest drivers in Formula One history, with his remarkable speed, skill, and consistency on the track earning him worldwide recognition and acclaim. But has Hamilton's championship-winning days come to an end? Keep watching to find out. In the 2023 season, Russell has been giving Hamilton a run for his money, out-qualifying him and almost taking pole position in Australia with a lap time that rivaled Verstappen's Red Bull. While this intense competition between 2 top-tier drivers is thrilling for Mercedes, especially when they are at the front of the grid as seen in Australia, it presents a challenge to Hamilton's position as the team's #1 driver. We all know that both Hamilton and Mercedes express assurance that the 7-time world champion will extend his stay with the team beyond this year, as he remains determined to achieve a historic 8th world title. Hamilton was quoted saying, "Honestly, I can see myself staying with Mercedes until my last days. I have incredible support within the team and strong relationships here." Toto Wolff, the team principal of Mercedes, chimed in saying, "We're just working out the details, like dates and such, but Lewis and George are our main focus. I am completely confident that Lewis will stay with us." So both Hamilton and Wolff are pretty optimistic about Hamilton's continued presence with Mercedes. But as contract talks continue, there's been some buzz around whether Mercedes really needs to re-up their agreement with Hamilton, considering the hefty sum he commands. The question is a bit tricky because the great Lewis Hamilton seems to be struggling to keep up with the new aerodynamic age that kicked off in 2022. Believe it or not, the 7-time world champion hasn't scored a major victory since the 2021 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. Dutch F1 expert Rob Camphuis is shaking up the racing world with his bold claim that the era of Lewis Hamilton is officially over. Camphuis also prompted the question, can we already conclude that the era of Lewis Hamilton in Formula One is over, or is it still too early for that? Is it just a little too early to write of the 7-time championship winner just yet? Camphuis also questions whether Hamilton's era in Formula One has come to an end, and if we have now entered the era of Max Verstappen and his peers. He ponders if the great tipping point was Abu Dhabi 2021, where Verstappen narrowly overtook Hamilton on the final lap, and if that event may have affected Hamilton's confidence. He also highlights that in 2022, Hamilton finished behind his younger teammate in the championship, who also won the only race Mercedes secured. Because of these comments, many think and are convinced that Lewis Hamilton is feeling the heat of the new rules in F1. The champ hasn't been able to secure a pole position or a victory since the rules kicked in, and to make matters worse, his own teammate George Russell beat him in the Drivers' Championship last year. While it is true that Hamilton has had a hard time transitioning to the new era of the sport, this may be what is prompting him to maintain his prior pace and wonder if his period of dominance is about to end. Adding to the challenge, Mercedes has once again struggled at the start of the 2023 season, sticking with their zero side pod design and appearing destined for another lackluster year. This puts Hamilton in a difficult position if he's aiming for that record-breaking 8th World Championship. Despite his ambition to race into his 40s, the situation presents a hurdle for the British driver. While Max Verstappen and Checo Perez continue to dominate the current season, Lewis Hamilton is still tirelessly pursuing his elusive 8th title triumph. Unfortunately for the champ, his team has been unable to provide him with the necessary vehicle to compete with the current front-runners, Red Bull. As Hamilton's future with Mercedes remains uncertain, speculations about his potential replacement are swirling. Rumors suggest that Mercedes may be eyeing McLaren's talented young driver, Lando Norris, if a vacancy opens up. Additionally, Wolff has even hinted at the possibility of promoting Mick Schumacher, who is currently a reserve driver at Mercedes, to a race seat on the grid if Hamilton or Russell are unavailable. The anticipation and suspense surrounding Mercedes' driver lineup for the future are palpable, but is it the ultimate solution? Campfuse believes that the recent departures from Mercedes, including James Vowles joining Williams as team principal, Angela Cullen, Hamilton's longtime physio, leaving her role, and chief designer James Allison stepping back at the end of 2021, are all evidence of the team's struggle to regain their former dominance in Formula One. Campfuse goes on to suggest that these changes signal the end of an era for Mercedes, and the notion that the once formidable team is facing challenges and potential decline. It is therefore obvious that the team, with or without Hamilton, will struggle to find a way back to the top of the pecking order. Lewis Hamilton's days of dominance are in the rearview mirror, which is true. The champ hasn't snagged a first-place finish since what seems like decades ago, and he's never even started from the front row. If we look at the history carefully, since the introduction of ground effect regulations and the latest aerodynamic regulations that were introduced in 2022, Red Bull has emerged as the dominant force in Formula One. Verstappen secured a comfortable championship win with a 146-point lead, and it appears that he is poised for another successful season in 2023. The Silver Arrows have fallen behind other teams. Despite this, Hamilton remains optimistic that he can compete for top honors if Mercedes provides him with a competitive car. Campfuse compares Hamilton's situation to that of Alain Prost, who left Formula One in a challenging year when Ayrton Senna won his 3rd World Championship, but then returned with Williams in 1993 and secured his 4th title. Hamilton, like Alonso, may point to how many times Alonso has been written off in the past, including after his challenges at Ferrari, McLaren, and his recent move to Aston Martin, and yet he has managed to make a strong comeback. In summary, it is premature to conclude that Hamilton's era in Formula One is definitely over. And while some commentators think Hamilton's era is over, there are still some who believe that the 38-year-old can be a top rival. Just like Prost and other experienced drivers like Fernando Alonso, Hamilton may draw inspiration from their examples as he faces the current competitive landscape of Formula One. Fernando Alonso's recent success with Aston Martin, securing 3 consecutive podium finishes at the age of 41, serves as evidence that age is not necessarily a limiting factor in Formula One. With his determination, talent, and a formidable team like Mercedes by his side, Hamilton could very well turn this situation around and come out on top and shut the experts' mouths. On the other hand, with departures from Mercedes, a rising challenger in George Russell, and new prospects on the horizon, Hamilton's era in Formula One may be close to an end. But will this mark the end of his era or the beginning of a new chapter? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comments below and let us know your predictions for Hamilton's future in Formula One. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe for more Formula One content.